Picture this. You're sitting in class, staring at your math textbook, and you think, why on earth am I studying this? When will I ever need to know the radius of a circle in real life? Algebra, trigonometry, calculus. What's the point? So many of us end up hating math, thinking it's useless and just a GPA killer. I mean, when was the last time you needed to use sine or cosine in your daily life? Wouldn't it be better to spend that time learning something more practical, like languages or sciences, and just ditch this seemingly pointless math? But wait a second, that's not true. If the wish of so many high school students came true and math disappeared, it would lead to disaster. Let me explain what could happen to the world if math didn't exist. Math is a huge obstacle for many people. It requires a lot of focus and mental effort to understand, which is why many students hate it. The memes making fun of math and the embarrassing situations caused by wrong calculations are proof of this. We even call anyone good at math a genius. Whether you love math or hate it, let me tell you, you use it every day without even realizing it. Take a look at a small part of a typical day in anyone's life. The first thing you do when you wake up is check the time, which is just a bunch of numbers. Then you get out of bed, which is built with precise geometric dimensions to make sure you sleep comfortably. You go to the bathroom and use water that follows exact calculations for pressure to come out of the pipes against gravity and flow from your faucet. Then you wash your face, get out of the bathroom, and check your phone, which relies entirely on algorithms that wouldn't exist without math. You grab a quick bite, like a cheese sandwich, and the bread you're eating is made with precise measurements, or it wouldn't have risen properly. Before you leave your house, built with geometric calculations, you put on clothes that you bought in specific sizes, measured in centimeters, for a specific price. Imagine we're talking about very simple daily moments that all rely completely on math. Just think about what life would be like without it. First of all, without math, the phone in your hand wouldn't exist. And it's not just the phone, computers, televisions, and any technology connected even remotely to math wouldn't exist either. These things are built on mathematical algorithms, and most of them run on electricity. Without math, we wouldn't even understand electricity, because math, with all its complexity that nobody likes, is the only way to explain complex physical phenomena and turn them into simple equations. Without math, we wouldn't know how to measure voltage, current, or resistance, which are the basics of any electrical circuit that powers any electronic device. This means a large part of the things we consider essential in life would disappear from the face of the earth. Forget the light bulb that lights up your night or the fridge that keeps your food cold, and think about anything related to electricity or even batteries. And since we said that math is a fundamental part of physics, if math disappeared, everything related to physics would disappear too, including mechanics, dynamics, and statics. And before you celebrate because you hate those subjects, let me tell you what that would lead to. First, the manufacturing industry would completely collapse. No more factories, machines, equipment, engines, or generators. As a result, no cars, planes, or even bicycles. And to add to that, there wouldn't be any water or sewage networks because we wouldn't have the calculations to measure the water pressure we need or the distance it needs to travel to reach our faucets. In short, if you're thirsty, you'd have to walk to the nearest river for a drink. If you live in an area without rivers or freshwater lakes, then good luck finding a well to drink from. From what we've discussed, without math, all the progress we've achieved would disappear and life would revert to something primitive. Some might think this sounds nice, a simpler, quieter life without pollution, noise, and stress. But the reality is quite the opposite. Most of the entertainment and activities we enjoy now are somehow related to math. Take the most popular game in the world, soccer. The entire game is based on math, from the dimensions of the field to the size and weight of the ball, the number of players, goals, halves, and everything. Without math, soccer wouldn't exist, or at best, it would be chaotic, with no rules or measurements. We'd be kicking a coconut around with no goals, just running aimlessly. The same goes for other sports like volleyball and basketball. You might think, who cares? We can kick a coconut and play without rules. But unfortunately, it wouldn't be that simple. You wouldn't have a house to protect you from the elements because there would be no measurements or geometry to build it. Houses would be simple wooden or mud huts, and we'd only manage 1 or 2 floors at most. You might say, fine, I'll sleep on the street. But the streets themselves wouldn't be the same because there wouldn't be sidewalks or asphalt. The ground would be in its natural state, so find a cave or a tree to shelter shelter you. Even if you find a nice cave with enough space for you and your family, you'll face another problem: clothes. As we mentioned earlier, there would be no factories, so no machines to turn cotton into fabric. Cotton, silk, and linen would remain as plants. You'd either have to be as skilled as the ancient Egyptians and make clothes by hand, or hunt animals for their skins. Without math, diseases would spread rapidly, and unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to diagnose or treat most of them. Without math, we couldn't do statistical analysis to understand disease spread. Diagnostic tools like microscopes, X-ray machines, and labs wouldn't exist without math. We wouldn't understand the human body or how it works, and creating medicines would be impossible because chemistry relies on math. We'd resort to trial and error. If something works, great. If it kills you, we'll try something else. And let's forget about any communication between people. The only people you'd interact with would be those in your immediate vicinity. This lack of communication would impact medication availability because you might live in a place where medicinal plants don't grow. And without math, there wouldn't be money, so we couldn't buy anything. Even bartering wouldn't work because it requires knowing the weight or quantity of the items we're trading. Gold and silver would have no value without math to measure them. In conclusion, agriculture relies entirely on seasons. Each plant has its specific growing season and climate. Without math, we couldn't calculate the movement of stars and celestial bodies, so we wouldn't know the seasons, months, or even years. We couldn't determine the area of the land we want to farm, how many seeds to plant, or the right amount of water for the crops. We'd not only revert to a primitive society, but we'd also struggle to match even basic primitive societies because they still used math in some form. So, the math that bothers us all and seems useless is actually the foundation of all human progress. It's the pillar of every ancient and modern civilization, and that's it. Who made it to the end? You're the best.